Thank you for returning back to Cybersecurity Fundamentals, well, the series Cybersecurity Fundamentals. Today, I'll be doing a few things in this particular video. I'll be going over a few exercises, actually. I'll be going over lockout unwanted guests on a Windows computer, verifying a guest account, renaming the administrator account, disable jump list, disable unnecessary services, kill unwanted processes, hiding files and folders, disabling simple file sharing, and raising the user account control slide bar. So we can go ahead and get started here. Let's see if it just let's it load. So when Windows when Windows is installed by default, right, it's not configured with optimum security settings. Various tasks need to be performed to ensure that the Windows operating system is secure, such as disabling unwanted services and killing unwanted processes. So the security of the system can also be increased by configuring user access control. And we'll be going over, because of that reason, we'll be going over a few of the exercises now. So for the first one, it allows the creation of Windows, specifically allows the creation of several accounts, right? Several user accounts can be used by specific users. So these user accounts need to be protected with a password to prevent unauthorized access to the computer, right? So for protection, we can set our user account up to get locked after attempting a specific number of incorrect passwords, which is implementing an account lockout policy, which is best practice for any enterprise, of course. So we are in our practice lab, Windows 101. And to get started, we'll be here in the local security policy. Okay. And I'll just wait for it to load. Should be in an account lockout. Account policies first and account lockout policy. Right. There it is. All right, perfect. I think I want to do 5. Let's see. Let me here. So you know what? Get out of this here. Then I'll go to, I just wanted to check the lockout threshold. It's going to connect to the other VMware. Now, while it's connecting here, I put in the password. So local policy is implemented. It will only impact a specific OS. So a password policy can be enforced through a group policy. And it'll impact all user and computer accounts in the domain environment. In an Active Directory environment, a password policy can only be defined at the domain level. And in the Windows environments, you can actually define the password a user can create. For example, you can enforce a complex password policy, which does not allow the users to create simple passwords, right? So they must have complex passwords, which contains letters, numbers, symbols, special characters. We can also define the password length that we're looking for as well. So to get started with that here, go ahead to administrative tools and then the group policy management, right? And it should be here. Let me expand that. Then default domain, let's see. There it is. Actually click here. Okay, should be. Now, while it's loading a bit here, so I also want to note that an Active Directory forest is the highest level in a hierarchical organizational structure. So after a forest has been created, a domain needs to be created, right? So where a domain contains several organizational units in which user and computer accounts are created, an organization can have many different domains in one forest. So I think it's still loading. Just waiting for the management editor to populate here for us. Okay, actually, I believe it's over here. This side, I'm not sure why I was looking that way. But yeah, so we're going to go under policies, under computer configuration. Then we're going to expand the Windows settings here. Then we're going to expand the security settings once we have that. Then we're going to expand account policies. All right, let me actually make this a bit bigger and turn this here so I can see more what's going on here. All right, then we got password policy. Okay, perfect. Now we'll notice that the right pane displays a set of password policies which are already configured. So therefore, the password policies and the local security policy are actually disabled, right? So now I'm going to head to the account lockout duration. Let's see here. There it is. There it is. Okay. I believe I'm going to set it for, let's see, 30 minutes is good. Let's see. Yep, that's fine. All right, perfect. So the suggested value changes, which is the box that was just here for the lockout duration. It's going to now reset the values for the account lockout threshold and the reset account lockout counter after 5 attempts, invalid logon attempts, right? So there is a possibility that an error regarding a missing file may occur. If it does, then you just want to click OK, which I believe what I got there. You may receive it, in real time. So now we're back on the editor. Just going to close this out here, right? And I'm going to close this out as well. Now, the group policy that we've just taken care of, it will be applied to all the computers on the network. And the policy will ensure that the computer is locked for 30 minutes if a new user enters their credentials wrong 5 times in a row. So now on to verifying a guest account. So when we install Windows 10 on a new system or Windows OS on a new system, we have to create a user account during the installation usually. However, this is not the only user account that's created usually with the Windows OS install. There are actually 2 user accounts that are created. It's usually the administrator, which has the person that pretty much can have access to any and everything for the most part, and guest, right? So a guest account in Windows is used to give a user temporary access to the system without the user being able to access any other data on the computer. The administrator account for Windows OS has full access to all of the components of the OS. So if the account is compromised, the computer will be at risk of being exploited. It's usually best practice to disable the administrator account to prevent this. So by default, these user accounts are disabled. And what I'm going to do is now verify a guest account is being disabled or has been disabled rather. So I'm going to exit out of here. Then I'm going to go to computer management. Once I right click on the start here, I should be able to go to, yep, there it is, local users and groups. We're going to see users. Then we're going to double click guest, right? And then we'll notice that the account is disabled also. Right here, that option is, it was already selected. So I'll just cancel out of here. And we're back on the computer management window. And I'm just going to keep this window open for right now. So what we're going to do is rename the administrator account. So the administrator is the default user in the Windows OS. So again, the Windows account by default in Windows, it's inactive. So to increase the security of the computer, the local admin account should be renamed to prevent unauthorized access. Because in the event of a cyber attack on a computer, the local admin account will be the first that a hacker will attempt to compromise naturally, right? We want to get straight ahead to full access to everything for whatever we're there for. Now, if the account has been renamed, the hacker may not be aware of the new name, and that may lessen the attack surface of the computer potentially. So the admin account can be renamed locally or through the group policy. So when we rename it locally, it's usually the name is changed only on the local computer. But if a group policy is used to change the admin name, admin account name, all the computers affected by the policy, we'll have that renamed account. So just gonna make sure I'm connected to the proper VM, which is Practice Lab Windows 101. All right, perfect. So we're still here. All right, now let's see. I'm gonna do Josh. Actually, can do me. My name here, perfect. All right, so you'll see that now instead of saying administrator, built-in account for administering, now it showcases my name, right? And I'm going to close this window now. Now, again, it's only going to be on the local computer since that's where I did it from. Now, for my next task, I'm going to disable jump list. So the jump lists help you view your open and recently closed documents in the taskbar. So for example, if you have open Microsoft Word, you can right click and view the open documents and also view recently closed documents for easy access, right? So similarly, if you have a web browser open with multiple websites open and have closed a few of them recently, you will be able to view them in what's called the jump list. So disabling these lists will give you a peace of mind for privacy. And especially if you have to share a computer with others, usually at like a FedEx office or Kinko's if you're from that time frame. So right now, what I'm going to do to demonstrate that, so we're disabling jump list, I'm going to open up Excel here, right? And I'm just going to save it twice. I'm going to save it two very similar names, just different numbers beyond each other. Right, so I'm going to hit save here. Then browse, should be documents. Yep, there it is. I'm going to save it as book one, right? And then save as, again, still in documents, right? Then I'm going to do book two, right? All right, perfect. So they should be saved under both book one and book two, right? Let's see. Yep, there it is. They're both open as book one and book two that I have open. All right, so I'm going to click here. I should minimize it. Actually, I clicked on File Explorer. Sorry about that. So now I'm just going to click here just to personalize. And see, click start. Then show recently open apps and jump list on start or taskbar. I'm going to toggle that off. Right, and then I'm going to close this, and then I'm going to right click. So there's no jump list, as you can see when I click here. When before it showed book one and book two, but the application is still open, but now it just shows excuse me, that the application is open, but not necessarily all of the files that I have open at the same time anymore. So I disabled the jump list effectively. Now for the next task, we're going to disable unnecessary services. So Windows enumeration, right? It helps us locate information about a system that's running Windows. So we can actually find information like open ports and running services, and this type of information usually used to exploit a Windows OS using methods like a backdoor. So enumeration can be prevented using a few methods like stopping unnecessary services from running and configuring a firewall on the Windows host. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a look at unnecessary services running on the Windows OS we have here. So we're still in practice labs in Windows 101. So I'm just going to take a look at the services, CMSC, right? Perfect. So now that we see that the services window populated for me, once I click for the application, so now we can check the status header for anything with the running status. There it is. So perfect. So we'll see that the services with the running status are now listed towards the top here. Let me magnify it just a bit. So everything that's running here on our OS is up at the top, and then everything else is not running. Presumably it's down here under it, right? So now I'm just going to scroll down to locate the print spooler service. Should be in alphabetical order. Shouldn't be hard to find. There it is. I'm going to double click here. I'm just going to hit stop. All right. Should take a moment. Yep, perfect. All right, so now just to ensure that the service does not automatically start when we reboot the system, we're going to change the startup type to disabled. So let's see, startup type from automatic to disabled. Then we're going to hit OK here. Perfect. Now, note, just like just to give you an extra tidbit, just like the principle of service, we can find actually more services that we don't require to run in Windows, right? So these services can typically be stopped and disabled to prevent them to start after the computer has been restarted or when the computer has been started up. So now we're going to take a look at the startup type and locate sprint. The print spooler again. Let's see. All right, it should not be here. So after the running, there it is, perfect. Yep, so it shows disabled as far as the startup type, meaning that whenever we restart or start the computer, it's not going to run, and it's currently not running at the moment. So we've successfully done what we came here to do. So I'm going to close this out here. So now I'm going to kill any unwanted processes. So Windows by default, it runs several processes, right? It's most, if not all, hardware, when you're booting everything up through the kernel and through the root and everything. But anyway, so some processes are necessary, right? So it's because some processes run because of several unwanted features that are configured in Windows with the default installation. So these unwanted processes can be killed to ensure the computer is not vulnerable to any cyber attack, right? So now what we're going to do, we're going to open and terminate the Microsoft Excel application that we have open, and the intent is to show how a process can be terminated. So actually, it's going to I'll just open up a new one here. Here, then task manager. Control Alt Delete, but this is just an alternate way of doing this, right? So I'll just in task, and there you go. It has been terminated, and you'll see it removed from the task bar here at the bottom. So that has been executed. So now we're going to hide files and folders. So there may be some scenarios in which you need to hide specific files and folders. For example, a payroll file, super important, right? So Windows actually allows us to do this with a few easy steps. So system files are hidden by default to prevent users from accidentally deleting them, right? So we're gonna quickly hide a few files and folders, right? So let's make sure, yep. So we're in the correct VM here. Right, perfect. So we're going to go to this PC, local disk, expand that here, and we'll see the C drive, right? So now we're going to select a new folder. Or we're going to create a new folder rather. And then we're going to hit test. All right, perfecto. Might do more than one, but let's take care of this first. So now, as we can see on the properties of this particular folder, right, that has the bytes, what's in it, and when it was created, and things of that nature, right? So I'm going to click hidden here, hit apply, hit OK, perfect. So now we see that even though I just created it, it doesn't show here when we have, even though it's located in the local disk, it does not show for me anymore because I've make sure that the property of the folder is hidden. So if we need to enable the hidden folders and files, we can click the View tab, right? And then we can click on Hidden Items. And then, as you can see, there's actually another one that's already here. So we'll see Program Data and Test. Now you'll see that they appear a bit grayed out, like a shade of the actual filled in color. For the others to let you somewhat, I guess, differentiate between the hidden ones and the hidden ones that we can now see versus the ones that are not hidden, right? So so just to hide the folder again, you can just go back and uncheck the hidden items, and then they'll be hidden again. So now we've completed hiding necessary and important files to be hidden just in case. We're going to now disable simple file sharing. So Windows also has a feature called Sharing Wizard, which is used for simple file sharing. And it's used for sharing resources. So along with this, permissions can also be assigned to users and the groups to whom the resources need to be shared with. So in this task, I'm just going to disable some simple file sharing. So now we're just going to open back up File Explorer, click the View tab, right? And then we're going to click the options here. All right, and then let's see, click here, folder options. All right, perfect. So now we're going to deselect the use sharing wizard. Let's see. Here, the view tab. Sorry. Just like to go, go, go. So let's see here. Should be in alphabetical order. There it is. Perfect. All right, so hit OK there, and we're good to go. So the sharing wizard has been disabled. So this will prevent our user from accidentally sharing a folder with potential system data, right? So now that we've successfully taken care of that, now we can raise the user access control slide bar. So user access control, it's a security feature presented by Windows that appears as a screen prompt that asks the user for confirmation or at times an admin account and password before launching an application as a site for privileged access. Right? So the UAC prompt likewise manifests itself as you're about to replace system protected files on the computer. So UAC is actually introduced in Windows Vista and has been carried over to succeeding versions of Windows with minor changes, really. So the UAC settings can be changed on a per computer basis via control panel or changed globally via group policy objects. So now what we're going to do is just, demonstrate raising the UAC bar. So now, we're just going to close this out here. We're going to head to the control panel. Okay, perfecto. So on the, so now we're just going to adjust the, head to the adjusting the computer settings. Well, that's essentially what control panel app is. And then we're going to go to system and security. And then under the security maintenance section, we're going to click on the change user account control settings here. And then we'll see the user account control settings dialog box here. So we'll see that currently the slider is set to notify me only when apps try to make changes to my computer, which is typically the default, right, that it showcases here. So I'm just gonna drag it upwards, right? Now we'll notice that the slider is now set to the top of the scale. So we'll be notified when either apps try to install software or make changes to the system, or myself make changes to, or anyone that's an admin would make changes to Windows. So not admin, but anyone that's logged into the computer, including the admin. So we hit OK, and we can close that out. So now we've successfully taken care of that. So in this video, what I've successfully done is lock out unwanted guests, going over guidelines for secure Windows first and foremost, but locking out unwanted guests, verifying the guest account, disabling jump lists, disable unnecessary services, kill unwanted processes, hiding files in folders, disabling simple file sharing, and raising the user account control slide bar. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video for the cybersecurity fundamental series.